Hello everyone! Welcome to Earth and Life Science. I am Mrs. Princess G. Mosca Caleja, SHS Teacher 2 of Santa Rosa National High School. What are you waiting for? Join me as we unveil our lesson for today.
Hello, grade 11. Welcome to our week 5 discussion in Earth and Life Science. So, in this module, you will learn more again about life science. But before that, let us proceed to know first the different competencies of today's discussion. First, identify the different organs that comprise a specific organ system. Describe the characteristics of the different organ systems in representative animals. Identify the different types of respiratory system in animals. Compare the digestive system of different animals. Appreciate how each organ system work together to ensure animal survival. And follow some ways to maintain a healthy digestive system. So, based from the competencies, our lesson is all about the human body. And guys, our human body is uniquely organized to perform astonishing functions. It is special in many ways and yet completely ordinary in other ways. Humans are vertebrates of the class mammalian. The organs and body systems of all kinds of mammals are quite similar. We share a lot of similarities with other animals, like the anatomical structures and physiological functions of our organ systems. Of course, there are many ways in which humans are different from other animals. But with this lesson, it will help us to develop an understanding and the unique characteristics of each organ systems commonly found both in humans and in animals. Animal cells need constant supply of nutrients such as water, oxygen, carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and vitamins. They must also eliminate waste products like carbon dioxide and nitrogen-containing compounds. In single-celled organisms, exchange of materials occurs directly with the external environment. However, multicellular animals, just like us, cannot exchange materials with this way or in this way. Instead, various organ systems perform functions of exchange. The different parts and organs of each organ system play a very important role in the unique characteristics and function in keeping animals alive. So again, with this lesson, we will discuss the unique characteristics of the different organ systems of some animals. It will also give us concept on how some animals from varied habitats differ in their ways of exchanging gases from their body and environment. It will further illustrate the different digestive systems of some animals and will give us an idea on how some animals can digest easily than other animals or how they differ in digestive systems. So, let's have a review on what you know about the different organ systems. I have here an activity wherein you're going to determine or choose the answer from the word box and the different pictures that will pop up in the screen. So we have here heart, kidneys, lungs, spleen, brain, stomach, bone, muscle, and reproductive organ. So let's begin. Go and get your notebook and write your answer in it. Okay? So this one. What main organ is this? Next. Okay, the other one. Next. Again. Okay, next. Okay. Okay, so done. So let's have your answers. This part is your brain. Very good. This is your, what is your answer? Heart. Okay. This one is your lungs. Very good. This is your kidney. This is your reproductive organ. Very good. This is the bone and muscle. This one is the stomach. Okay, and this is the spleen. Okay, very good. So you got it all. And take note, guys, the organs that you have identified in this activity plays a very important role in carrying out a specific function of an organ system. But what is really that organ system? When we say organ system, it is a group of organs that contribute to a specific function to the body. The heart, for example, is a main organ of the circulatory system. Are there other organs which help the heart in carrying out the task for the function of the circulatory system? Can you name some of them? Or can you name other organ systems aside from the circulatory system? Okay, so take note that organ systems work together as biological system to perform one or more functions. So all of them must work together. How many organ systems do we have? Okay. There are 11 organ systems in the body. Can you name them all? I have here a hint in order for you to name them in a good way. In order for you to remember the 11 organs very easily. So, we can use Mrs. Includer. Okay, so we have here 11 letters. This is an easy way for you to remember the 11 organ system. So let us start. Mrs. Includer. M stands for muscular system. R, respiratory system. S, skeletal system. I, integumentary. N, nervous. C, cardiovascular. L, lymphatic and immunity. U, urinary. D, digestive. N, endocrine. And R, reproductive system. Simply, you can memorize it by using Mrs. Includer. Okay, did you get it? Yes, ma'am, very good. So, let us now proceed in the discussion of this organ system. First, what organ system includes skin and associated glands? Very well. That is the integumentary system. Integumentary system is one of the largest organ systems in the body. Now, we probably don't think the integumentary that has a lot of functions, but actually it is very important organ system of the body. Why? These are the functions. But let us first include the different parts of the integumentary system. We have here the hair, the fingernails, and the toenails. These are the functions of the integumentary system. It protects the body. It helps us protect the body. It helps us to separate the external environment from the internal environment of the body. It regulates body temperature. It also plays an important role in things such as elimination of waste. And one really important role that the skin has is in helping us to make vitamin D. This is the reason why it is important for us to get out and into the sun for us to make vitamin D, which is very important to the different processes that occur in the body. This organ system is also responsible for the detection of sensation such as touch, pain, warm, and cold. And finally, it helps us to store fats and provides us insulation. So, all fat is not actually bad. And we actually need it. And it is part of the integumentary. That is for integumentary system. Next is we have this one. We have here the skeletal system, which includes primarily the bone, the cartilage, and the joint. The skeletal system is purely made up of bones, and the joints of the body also associated with the cartilage. These are some functions of the skeletal system. It supports and protects the body. Provides surface area for muscle attachment. So, without the bones, your body will not work or your skeletal muscles will not work. The bones are also important in helping the body movements, again, together with the muscular system. It aids body movements. And finally, in your bones, we actually have the cells that produce things such as the red blood cells and also stores mineral and lipids that our body needs in order to perform other functions. So, this is for the skeletal system. We also have here the skeletal muscles. The muscular system. The muscular system is actually or specifically the skeletal muscles. Your skeletal muscles, which is attached to the bones, are important because they allow us to move. Meaning without this one, no one will move. These are some functions of the muscular system. Participates in body movements such as walking. We would not be able to walk or talk or to do any other things that require movement without the presence of our muscular system. So, muscular system is very important to maintain posture. Along with our skeletal muscles, they also allow us to stand still. They help us to maintain our posture so that we are able to stand upright or sit upright. Produce heat. The muscles are also important in producing heat. It's actually the contraction of muscles that allow us to produce or increase our body temperature. So for example, when you get really cold, sometimes you might shiver. This is actually a way for your body to increase the body temperature through muscular contractions. Next system, it includes the brain. Or simply, this is the nervous system. Aside from the brain, we have here the spinal cord, all nerves in your body, and it includes also some parts of that you senses, which are the ears and the eyes. So these are functions of the nervous system. Take note that pretty much the nervous system plays a major role in the body. It is a major player in our body. General action, potentials, or electrical impulses regulate body activities. Detects changes in the body's internal and external movements. Interpret changes and responds. So that is the role of the nervous system. Next system is the endocrine system. This is also important in the maintenance of homeostasis. It includes all your hormone-producing glands such as your pineal gland. We have here pineal gland, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thyroid and parathyroid glands, thymus glands, adrenal glands, pancreas, gonads or your ovaries. These are some functions of your endocrine system. It regulates body activities by releasing hormones, chemical messengers transported in blood from endocrine gland or tissue to target organ. Actually, the nervous system and endocrine system have a very similar function, but the way they function is very different. So we have here nervous system and endocrine system. In nervous system, it use electrical impulses, while for endocrine system, it use chemical or hormones in order to perform its function. So take note of that, guys. Nervous system and endocrine system have a very similar function, but the way they function is very different. Next, a system that includes blood. What is this? Okay, we call this one as the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system includes blood, the veins, heart, and the artery. Heart pumps blood through vessels. So it functions by pumping the blood through the vessels. Okay? So this one is the heart that pumps blood through the vessels in the body. Also, when there's pumping of blood, it actually carries oxygen to the cells of the body, and also at the same time, as it brings the oxygen and nutrients into the cells, it removes the carbon dioxide and other waste products from the cells so that they can be removed from the body eventually. And also it contains the components, cells, white blood cells that help us fight against diseases, viruses, or bacteria. So that is the function of the cardiovascular system. We also have here the lymphatic system and immunity. The lymphatic system works very intimately with the cardiovascular system. The lymphatic system includes the lymphatic fluid and vessels. We have here the thymus, tonsils, spleen, and the lymph node. It's going to include your lymphatic fluid, lymphatic vessels, organs such as spleen, the thymus, the lymph nodes, and the tonsils, and also the cells that carry out the immune responses, those white blood cells such as the B cells and the T cells and other types of it. We have here the functions of the lymphatic system. It returns protein and fluid to the blood. It carries lipids from gastrointestinal tract to the blood, and also it contains sites of maturation and proliferation of B cells and T cells that protect against disease-causing microbes. That is the lymphatic system. Next, let's have the respiratory system. Respiratory system includes mainly, we have here the trachea, bronchus, the lung. We also have here the nasal cavity, oral cavity, pharynx, and the larynx. This system transfers oxygen from inhaled air to blood and carbon dioxide from blood to exhaled in the air. It also helps us regulate acid-base balance of body fluids, and it involved in phonation. Phonation means sound is being produced. So meaning without the respiratory system, there will be no sound. There will be no voice. Actually, without respiratory system, I will not be able to communicate or deliver my lesson to all of you today. That's why respiratory system is really, really important. But all the systems are also important. Okay, so next, let's have the digestive system, which includes primarily, we have here the esophagus. We also have here the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. As you can see, or the interesting thing about digestive system, because it is open on both opening and at the end of the tract, it is technically external to the body, and that it is kind of like a straw. So just like a straw, open to the opening tract up to the end tract. So it's technically external to the body, just like a straw. Other parts of the digestive system includes you have here the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas behind the stomach. Also, it allows digestion to occur even though they are not part of that straw. We have here the function of the digestive system. Achieve physical and chemical breakdown of food. It absorbs nutrients and eliminates solid waste. Sa mga naman, di ba, absorb nutrients in the sense that as we eat, our digestive systems is already working. And after it absorbs the nutrients, the unnecessary things that you eat will become eliminated as solid waste or your feces, or moves out as your feces. Next, let's have the urinary system. Under your urinary system, we have here your kidney, the ureter, urinary bladder, and your urethra. In here, it produces or stores and eliminates urine. Kapag tayo ay umiihi na, our urinary system works. Produces, stores, and eliminates urine. It eliminates waste and regulates volume and chemical composition of blood. It also helps maintain the acid-base balance of body fluids, maintains body's mineral balance, and helps regulate production of red blood cells. So that is for the urinary system. Next is your or the reproductive system. This is for female. Under your female, the main we have here your ovary, the mammary gland, the uterus, uterine tube, and the vagina. So these are some main parts of the female reproductive system. Under the female reproductive system, it produces oocytes. Ovaries release hormones that regulate reproduction and other body processes. Associated organs transport and stores oocyte. Pag sinabi nating oocytes, these are your egg cells. Mammary glands produce milk. Okay, so this one, mammary gland produce milk. Let's go naman dun sa male reproductive system. So, under your male reproductive system, you have here your testes, seminal vesicle, the prostate vas deferens, the penis, and the epididymis. What is the function of this male reproductive system? Testes produce sperm that unites with an egg to form a new organism. So we have here the sperm cell unite with egg to form a zygote. Then it will grow and develop. Testes release hormones that regulate reproduction and other body processes. And, other associated organs transport and store the sperm. So those are the different organ systems, the 11 organ system, or we should say the Mrs. Intruder, okay? So I have here a simple activity in the last part of our lesson for lesson 1. Which organ system is the most responsible in the following situations? Write your answer in the space provided. Before each item, the letter that represents the organ system and your choice. So, let's see. You studied well last night for today's first grading examination. What organ system will work? Okay, very good. It is the nervous system. You have eaten a good breakfast for energy source. Nice one, digestive. You went to the bathroom since you drank a lot of water. You would not want to go out from the room during the exam. Okay, very well. We have here the urinary or excretory system. D. You walk hurriedly so you will not be late. You are catching your breath. This is your respiratory system. You're catching your breath. You are out of balance and fell on your knee, but you managed to get up quickly. Okay, muscular or skeletal system. You were thankful you have strong bones. Okay, very good. Again, muscular and skeletal system. Next, you are now in the classroom. You are excited and your chest is beating fast. But you are confident because you are ready. Ano naman kaya ito? Okay. We have here your respiratory system. Okay, do you have any question on our lesson? If none, hope you learn well. Let's now proceed to our next discussion. Okay, so we learn a lot, or you learn a lot about our lesson in lesson 1, the different organ system, their characteristics, the different organs that comprise the different organ systems. And now let us proceed and different types of respiratory systems in animals, and the different digestive systems of different animals. Compare the different digestive systems of the different animals. Let's now proceed here. Comparing digestive systems. What can you see in the illustration? You can see there a human and a deer. Are these two organisms have the same digestive system? Yes or no? If yes, what is your answer? If no, what is your answer? Keep that in your mind. Okay? Comparative digestive systems. Depending on an animal's diet, it can affect their digestive system or digestive tract. Plants have complex carbohydrates, such as starch and cellulose, which take longer to break down. So, this image shows the different breakdowns of the different foods. So, in this part, this image shows the atomic structure of three strands of fiber or cellulose. White balls are hydrogen atoms, black balls are carbon atoms, red balls, they have their oxygen atoms, and turquoise lines are electrostatic hydrogen bonds. This one is cellulose. Next picture, we have here the cotton fibers. Cotton fibers represent the purest natural form of cellulose, containing more than 90% of this polysaccharide. Okay, next let's have this ball and stick model of the beta D glucose molecule, sugar, as found in crystal structures. Okay, yan siya. And lastly, the last picture is this is the glucose tablets. Among these pictures, which do you think will be the hardest to break down, or it will take the longest time to break down? Okay, definitely the longest time to break down is the cellulose, which includes different atoms in it. We have the hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, electrostatic hydrogen bond. So meaning this is complex carbohydrate, which is long to, or which takes long time to break down. And the easiest way to break down definitely is the glucose tablet. Okay, comparing for these different foods present or carbohydrate present in the illustration. We have here different animals with the different types of digestive systems. We have here ruminant animals, hindgut fermenters, and monogastric digestive system. So under ruminant, we have here the we have here the cow, the goat, the sheep, and the deer. Next, we have here the hindgut fermenters. We have here the horses and the rabbits. Under the monogastric, we have here pigs, cats, and chickens. So these animals have different types of digestive systems. We have ruminant, hindgut, fermenters, and monogastric. Let's proceed first under ruminant. Ruminant animals such as here the cow. This cow, it has 4 compartments to their stomach. So this is the stomach of the cow, able to break down grass. The rumen, located on the left side of the cow, this part, left side of the cow, has billions of microorganisms, forms balls of cud, and do not completely chew the grass they initially eat it. Okay? Stem has one simple stomach that secretes acid. So these are ruminant. The acid destroys most bacteria in the stomach and break down the foods into its simplest form. They can easily digest foods with high in energy and low in fiber. So this is the ruminant. So this one is the teeth of the cow. So see this one flatten in order for them to chew their foods. Next, ruminant. Ruminant animals such as goat and cows have four stomachs. So the first stomach, the rumen, we have here the rumen. The rumen and the reticulum contain this one rumen and reticulum. They contain prokaryotes and protists that are able to digest cellulose or fiber, which has a very complex formula, just like what is presented kanina. This one, see this portion, cellulose, which contains a complex carbohydrate. Then they can easily break down these foods. Okay, so the ruminant regurgitates cud from the reticulum, chews it, and swallows it into the third stomach, the omasum, which remove the water. So we have here the omasum. This omasum removes the water. The cud then passes into the fourth stomach, the abumasum. Here, the abumasum, where it is digested by enzymes produced by ruminant. So take note, guys, the ruminant has four stomach. We have here the rumen, then goes to the reticulum, then regurgates. We have here omasum, then abumasum. Okay. We also have what we call the pseudoruminant. The pseudoruminant digestive system is found in animals that eat large amounts of fiber but do not have stomach with several compartments, not just like the ruminant. The digestive system has the same functions of those of ruminant. We also have another digestive system. We have the hindgut fermenters. Hindgut fermenters is one of the simplest stomach. Okay, one simple stomach. Cecum is responsible for digesting plant fiber. Can be very long, up to 4.4 feet in horses. Okay, so must graze often. Horses tend to get colic. What is meant by that colic? When we say colic or horse colic, horses tend to get colic, meaning horses are not feeling well. This results from a blockage in the digestive tract. Results in abdominal pain. Can be caused by a twist in the bowel, diet poor in water, quick change to pasture gas. We have here some colic symptoms. So, looking or biting at sides. Kinakaga yung side niya. It is stretching out. Kicking at belly. Excessive rolling. Pawing or pawing. Lip curl. Not eating. Excessive lying down. So, this is what we call horse colic. Or simply sa atin, pag hindi na natin alam yung ginagawa natin, yung natsukan tayo, okay? So, horse colic naman dun sa mga horses. Next type, we have here the monogastric digestive system. This monogastric digestive system has large complex nutrient molecules are broken down with the use of a simple stomach. So that is for the monogastric. So you can see here the different parts of the digestive system: esophagus, liver, gallbladder, pylorus, pancreas, rectum, or anal sphincters. So mechanical digestion, or chewing and swallowing, chemical digestion of carbohydrates. Next, in this portion, mechanical digestion, peristaltic mixing and propulsion, chemical digestion of proteins, absorption of lipid-soluble substances such as aspirin in this part. Then, we have here in intestines, mechanical digestion or mixing and propulsion primarily by segmentation, chemical digestion of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids, absorption of peptides, amino acids, glucose, fructose, lipids, water, mineral, and vitamins. Then, the last portion under in this going to the rectum part, mechanical digestion, segmental mixing, mass movement for propulsion, no chemical digestion except by bacteria, absorption of ions, water, minerals, vitamins, and small organic molecules produced by bacteria. So that is for monogastric digestive system. Uh, However, we have here monogastric compare contrast on humans and herbivores such as rabbit, which has a monogastric digestive system. So we have here the rabbit and the human. However, in rabbit, the small intestine and cecum are enlarged. This one, cecum are enlarged to allow more time to digest plant material. The enlarged organ provides more surface area for absorption of nutrients. Rabbits digest their food twice. Okay? Dalawang beses dina-digest ng mga rabbit ang kanilang pagkain. The first time food passes through the digestive system, it collects the cecum. And then, it passes as soft feces. And this soft feces is called, we call this soft feces as caecotrophs. Okay? The rabbit reingests these caecotrophs to further digest them. Okay, so that is for rabbit. We also have here insectivore compared to carnivore. So under insectivore, it has a short intestine and there is no cecum. You also have carnivore, short intestine and colon, and it has a cecum which is small. So eto siya. Both have shorter digestive tracts than herbivores. You have the non-ruminant compared to ruminant herbivores. So, the ruminant herbivore, four-chambered stomach with large rumen, long, small, and large intestine. So, it has a cecum also. Next, carnivore, short intestine and colon, and it has a small cecum. A similar diet for both organisms, however different tracts. Notice stomach and cecum differences. This one has a bigger cecum. This one has a small cecum. Ruminant also has noticeable spiral loop. So, eto siya, ruminant herbivore. It has a spiral loop. So, these are some examples of the different digestive systems of the given animals. So, insectivore, non-ruminant herbivore, ruminant herbivore, and carnivore. Aside from those given digestive system, we have also what we call the avian digestive system. The avian digestive system is found in poultry, animals that do not have teeth. They break their food into small pieces by pecking it with their beaks or scratching them before swallowing. Food enters the mouth, travels to the esophagus, and into the crop. The crop is where the food is stored and soaked. This portion, the crop. The food moves to the stomach of birds called probenticulus. This one is stomach of the birds. We call this one as probenticulus, where the gastric enzymes and hydrochloric acid are secreted. From there, the food goes to the gizzard, a very muscular organ, which contains stones that act like teeth to grind the food. The food then moves to the small intestine and to the large intestine. The food components that cannot be digested move to the cloaca or cloaca. Okay, so that is for the avian digestive system. So, comparisons of digestive tract anatomy. So, I have here the different digestive tract anatomy of the different species. So, human, pig, dog, orangutan, kangaroo, sheep, horse, koala. So as you can see, they differ from each other. Oh, that this one. Okay, so that's it. I hope you learn a lot from this lesson. Let's now proceed to lesson 3. But before that, kindly answer this one. Please take good care of me. Enumerate ways on how you can or how can you take good care of your digestive system. Okay, so let's proceed to lesson 3.
The 8 respiratory systems in humans and animals. And our subtopic for today is on 8.1, which is the types of respiratory systems. So I hope you are ready to take notes, and let's begin. Okay, so now we have 5 pictures here. What you have to do is observe the pictures closely. Now, what differences can you observe from the picture? Of course, the respiratory system. Now, why are there differences between this respiratory system among these animals? Something to think about. Okay, some animals have different animals have different respiratory systems. So some animals have lungs and some don't. Well, they are all unique in their own way, and as they have different tasks to fulfill in this whole world. Okay, so let's look into the learning objectives first. Before we go in further, firstly, you must be able to identify the respiratory structures in insects, fish, amphibians, and humans. Okay, and then you must be able to describe the adaptation of the respiratory structures and their functions for gases exchange in animals and also humans, the adaptation. Okay, and lastly, you should be able to compare and contrast the respiratory structures in humans and animals. Okay, so various organisms have various structural adaptation to maximize the rate of gases exchange. Now, what is gases exchange? Gases exchange is the process of oxygen uptake from the environment and the carbon dioxide released to the environment by the living organism. Now, respiratory gases exchange takes place on the respiratory surface in the respiratory structure of a living organism through diffusion. So this respiratory structure is a structure specialized to help living organisms breathe. Now, as you have learned in chapter 2, unicellular organisms such as amoeba they do not need specialized respiratory structures because they have a large total surface area to volume ratio for gases exchanged through diffusion. Okay, so the ratio of the total surface area to volume, the TSAV over V, depends on the size of the organism. So the larger the size of organism, the smaller the ratio for total surface area to volume. This means that for the large and complex organism, the volume of the body requires oxygen will increase more than its total surface area, and they can't carry out diffusion through body surface only. And this explains why small and simple organisms have simple respiratory system structures, whereas the bigger and more complex organisms have specialized organs for gases exchange. Okay, so let's look into the insect respiratory structure and its adaptation. So for here, we will just focus on the grasshopper. It's almost the same for all insects. Okay, now you know that the body of insects are protected by a hard exoskeleton made of chitin. So this exoskeleton is waterproof and impermeable to gases. So the breathing system of insect is known as the tracheal system. The tracheal system of insect consists of a complex network of tubes of trachea and tracheoles that deliver oxygen containing air to every cell of the body. Okay, so there are small pores in the thorax and abdomen of the insect called spiracles. The spiracles allow the intake of air into the tracheal system. The trachea, which is made of chitin rings to prevent it from collapsing. So this trachea branches out to form finer tubes called the tracheole, which connects to every cell of the body. So tracheole is said to be the respiratory surface. Why is it respiratory surface? First, because it is large in number for the large surface area. Then it has a thin and moist wall which allow oxygen to diffuse in and carbon dioxide to diffuse out easily. Some insect has the air sacs filled with air in their trachea system to speed up the delivery of respiratory gases during active movement. Now, the pathway of oxygen diffusion from the environment into the tracheal system is from the spiracle to the trachea, then into the tracheole and till it reaches the body size. Okay? So now let's look into the fish respiratory structure and its adaptation. Now, fish are multicellular aquatic animals that breathe through their gills. Most fish have 4 gills that are protected by the operculum on each side of the pharynx. Now, the gills are made up of line or filament that is supported by the gill arc. The filaments are the one responsible for the gases exchange. So, the filaments are the respiratory structure. Now, the filaments have many thin and flat projections called the lamella, as you can see on the slide. Now, a large number of filaments and lamella gives a large total surface area for an efficient gases exchange. So, back to total surface area. The lamella membrane is also thin and it is supplied with many blood capillaries for easy absorption and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So basically, the adaptation of the respiratory structure is the same. Thin wall and numerous blood capillaries and a large total surface area. So now let's look into the frog respiratory structure and its adaptation. Now, amphibians such as frog have a respiratory structure adapted for gases exchange on land and in water. So on land, the frog uses their moist skin and lungs for gases exchange. But when in water, the frogs are less active and the gases exchange happens through their skin. So the respiratory structure of a frog is the skin and the lungs. Now let's look at the skin first. the frog has thin and permeable skin, which helps in increasing the rate of diffusion of respiratory gases. The frog's skin mucus glands releases mucus to ensure that the frog's skin is always moist to dissolve respiratory gases. And it also contains numerous network of blood capillaries beneath the skin to transport the respiratory gases. Okay, now let's look into the lungs. Frog's lungs are a pair of air sacs organ connected to its mouth through an opening called glottis that can be open and closed. The surface of the lungs is folded to increase the total surface area for gases exchange. Okay, it has a thin lung membrane which eases the diffusion of the respiratory gases. The lungs is also moist to enable respiratory gases to dissolve. And the lungs also contain numerous network of blood capillaries to transport the respiratory gases. Okay, so now let's look into the human respiratory structure and its adaptation. Now, this is something you are familiar with. You have learned about the respiratory organs and the human respiratory system in Form 3. So, you know that human needs their lungs for respiration, and the alveolus is the respiratory structure in humans. Now, alveolus or plural alveoli are sacs of air, and the surface within the alveolus makes up the respiratory surface for exchange. Now, let's look into the adaptation of the alveolus. Alveolus has a large surface area. The high number of alveoli increases the diffusion rate of respiratory gases. It has a moist wall that enables oxygen to dissolve and diffuse into the blood capillaries. The large network of blood capillaries throughout the alveoli surface increases the efficiency of gases exchange and the transport of oxygen from the alveoli into the body cells. Lastly, the thin wall, which is about 1 cell thick, also increases the rate of diffusion of the respiratory gases. Okay, so you got to remember the general characteristics of the respiratory structures. All respiratory structures have almost the similar characteristics. Okay, firstly, it must have a large surface area. Okay, and then it must be permeable to oxygen and carbon dioxide, the respiratory gases. And it has to be moist so that the gases can dissolve and diffuse easily. And it should have thin walls to minimize the distance of gases diffusion, and also has a network of capillaries underneath it for the gas transportation. So all these characteristics are very important in this respiratory structure for it to function well. So here you can look at the similarities and differences of the respiratory structures in humans and in animals. You can find this table, table 8.1 in page 131 from your textbook. Go through that and see if you understand the differences between the structures in humans and also in animals.
Thank you for listening. Hope you learn a lot about this lesson. See you again on more discussion next meeting in our next lessons. Goodbye, grade 11. God bless you.